Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. There is cold weather blowing in today. It was even snowing a bit earlier. I'm working on the plant room, getting it ready, getting all the benches in there for the tropical trees to come in. They'll have to vacate this greenhouse. Yeah, at least in a week, I think. I found that both my greenhouses are fairly easy to heat up until about -5 degrees Celsius, and anything below that, they start getting too cold in here, or you need too much energy input to keep them warm. So I move all my tropical trees inside the plant room for the winter, where it's nice and insulated and warm. Once I've got my tropical trees moved into the plant room and the basement, the greenhouses will turn into giant cold frames for my more hardy trees. Let's go into the plant room now, and I'll show you the setup for this year. I'm going to keep the tropical trees at 2 different temperature zones, a cooler zone and a warmer zone. The basement will be the cooler zone. It's naturally cool down there, but it doesn't freeze. And the plant room here will be kept slightly warmer. Here's a look at the plant room, and I'll take you on a tour. I'll show you around. So here's my one portable bench here that I can move in and out, and that's where I'll be doing most of my video work over the winter. I've got an aisleway in the middle here, and then I've got another one over here that I can have access to these 2 benches here and the smaller one in the middle. Underneath the video bench, I've got a place to put all my watering bottles and my spray bottles and fertilizer. So that's kind of my watering station. The main bench by the window is quite a large bench, and I can fit a fair number of trees on there, and they get the natural light from the outdoors. Behind that, I've got these 2 benches that I showed earlier, and they're on rollers, so I can roll them around. They're all portable. And I've got to hang my lights back here, so I've got a LED light that I can hang, and I've got a few more that I can hang on this back wall here, so that'll be nice. I've got the UFO light from Connor shining on the ficus, the auction ficus down there. I've got my turntable over here. I've got space up here. There's another kind of bench up here, and I can also put trees on top of my water barrel here. There's a tray there that I can set trees on. My water barrel here is full, and this usually lasts me till around Christmas time. I have the cube outside that I'll keep full of water until it gets really, really cold outside, and there's a chance it freezes. That'll be sort of probably into January. So I can fill this up again before I drain the cube for the winter. And then I just rely on thaws. Whenever we get a thaw, water starts dripping off the roof, and I can fill up some buckets and keep rainwater for the whole winter. Under this bench here, I have my radiator style heater, and behind that is a fan to blow the warm air and circulate it around the room. This is the only heat source in this room. It's closed off from the rest of the house. The room is all ready for the rest of the plants now, so I'll be bringing them in over the next few days. It's going down to -2 degrees Celsius tonight, so it's getting pretty cold out. Time to bring them in. My setup in the basement is the same as last year. It's quite cool down here. It averages around 12 degrees Celsius, and the lowest it gets down to is about 5 degrees Celsius. So it's pretty cool. It's good for the temperate trees like the citrus trees. They get a little bit of light from the shop lights, the LED shop lights above them. And they just sit here all winter. They stay completely dormant. They don't grow. They have no insect problems. And I only have to water them maybe, once a week. They stay pretty humid down here. I did bring my desert rose down here. When I got it, most of the leaves were off of it. So it was going dormant. And I thought, well, there's no point waking it up, bringing it into the warmth of the plant room over the winter when there's hardly any light. So I'm just going to keep it dormant down here in the basement. And I think it'll do fine. When it's cool like this, you don't water them at all. So it just loses its leaves. It'll stay dormant until, springtime. It'll start waking up. You'll get little leaves coming out. I'll probably bring it up into the plant room as it gets closer to spring. It'll start waking up, and then you can start slowly adding water and fertilizer as the temperature increases. I'm going to be bringing a lot more plants down into the basement here for the winter. I don't have to worry about spacing each plant out to give it room because they're not going to grow. So what I do is I just pack all the pots as tightly together as I can get them to fit as many trees down here as possible. I keep my lights in the plant room here on about the same amount as the daylight hours outside. So in the morning when the sun's coming up, I turn the lights on in here. And then at nighttime when the sun's setting, I turn them off. When I turn the lights off, it's usually dark or around dark. And I have one problem is that it's hard to see in the plant room to make my way out of here. So a long time ago, I bought a solar powered light. I'll show you that. Here's a look at the light. So there's a solar panel that's adjustable. So you can adjust the angle of it. And that'll kind of track the sun. And then there's a spotlight with it that you can either hand hold like a flashlight, or you can mount it to a wall with the screws provided. It's kind of nice. It's also adjustable, the beam of it, so you can have an intense spotlight, or you can make it more of a floodlight. The spotlight down here is activated by darkness, so I'm going to turn the plant room light off, and I'll see if it comes on and I can show you how powerful it is. So there, it turned on. There's how bright it is. So it's quite bright. You can, there's it focused down now, and then I'll spread it out now. Wow, it really spreads out. So like a general light. So that's kind of handy, and then you can turn it off if you're not using it to save your battery power. So that's what I'm using. So when I turn my plant room lights off, I'll have a light that automatically comes on and I can leave the room without tripping over anything. I think this year's version of the plant room will be a nice place to work on trees and make videos over the winter. And I'm sure, like last year, time will just fly by, and before I know it, it'll be springtime. I found last year that some plants did better than others in the basement. Some could handle the cold, and some couldn't. Some even died down in the basement. They just got too cold. So you kind of have to know your species, how they react to the cool overwintering temperatures. I found even with the ficus trees, my ficus microcarpa were perfectly happy down in the cool basement, whereas my ficus benjaminus, the leaves started kind of falling off and they didn't like it at all. So I brought my ficus benjaminus up into the plant room here where it was a little warmer. Underneath my main bench here, I keep my bin of soil, which I just mixed up more and it's full. And I also keep all my bonsai pots. So when I'm repotting in the winter, I have everything on hand here. I think I'll have quite a busy winter this year. I've got to finish my cement to Prom style temple for that root over temple planting. I've got to work on all my tropical trees, so it's going to be a busy winter. snow and tropical trees just don't mix. So over the next couple of days, I'll be bringing all my tropical trees inside for the winter. And that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me here in the Bonsai Zone.